third round of the tournament. I'm playing as white against the second player. As you can see, I'm 1.5 out of 2. So let's keep going. I played d4 and my opponent replied with c5, the Sicilian. And against the Sicilian defense, I played the Alpine, so I played c3. Now, a lot of people play d5, but another really good move, which is also the main line, which is, in my opinion, the by far best weapon against the Alpine, is knight on f6. And it is plenty of annoying line if you're playing as white. So if you are black and you want to counter the Alpine, I really suggest you to play knight f6. There's plenty of good stuff. I played e5, the knight have to go on d5 basically, and now you can play d4 or knight on f3. I decided to play knight on f3 first, which might lead to different continuations, and then decided to play d6. Now, a thing about d6 is that it is not the main line. The main line is playing knight on c6, but d6 is playable, of course. And there is a problem about d6 though, and it is that I don't know theory. Like, he played d6 and I was already out of theory. Perfect. So let's see what happened. At this point you can play bishop on c4 or d4. I decided to play d4. It is logical, so even if I didn't know theory, d4 is a really logical move. Obviously, I decided to take, and now you can play knight c6 or e6. He played knight on c6 and with disposed into one of the main lines that you can reach even if you play d4 before knight on f3. So at this point you should really play bishop on c4, but even knight on c3 is good. I wasn't sure about bishop on c4 because after this, what are you even supposed to do? Well, apparently you can go on b5 and you have zero problems. I was thinking about going on b3, but I felt like I was going to have some problems. I wasn't sure about playing bishop on c4, honestly. The bishop is undefended. I don't know what's going on. So I decided to be solid since I didn't know theory. And I played the move a3, which is inaccurate. It has been played, but white has a really bad score with this opening because I'm too passive. Black already stand better, definitely better. He played g6, which is a good move. Obviously, you want to take it to the bishop and target this pawn. And I decided to take. The point is that if you take with the pawn, my pawn is weak, but your pawn is also weak. And if you take with the queen, you gave me a target. Although it's not really a target and just helping him improving the position. His pawn is really weak, so it wasn't really clever by me. So he decided to take bishop on c4 now, which makes sense. If you go on b6, as my opponent did, I go on a2. So there is this bishop that I feel like it is annoying, makes sense. Although after you play something like bishop on g4 and e6, I don't know. Although my opponent decided not to play bishop on g4, for example, now, because there was this static that I saw. So bishop take, king take. Now we give a check. The king has to move again. So let's say king e8, and we take the bishop. Although it's not simple at all because this pawn is hanging. My king is also pretty weak. You have a lot of activity, so I'm not sure I would have gone for that move. Probably yes, because otherwise I just get destroyed. But it is still pretty complicated. So instead of playing that though, my opponent decided to play bishop on g7 and now bishop on e3, which is logical, just defended the pawn. Again, if you play this, I have the same tactic, so he decided to castle first. And now I thought that h3 solved pretty much all of my problems because now this pawn can't be attacked anymore. You don't have this move, so the knight is not pinned and this is completely defended. Eventually I want to play knight on c3 and push, and I should be fine. Although there is the move e5 that my opponent didn't play, but I thought that this move wasn't really good. Like, let's say what happened if I push. Apparently there is e4, yeah, but what happened if I play this? Oh, now there is knight take d5. Oh, because if I take, there is this hanging. And instead of doing this, he's saying you can take the pawn this way. Knight take, I take. Oh yeah, queen take first, then bishop take, and then worse in the endgame. So yeah, e5 was a really good move. Of course, I'm not playing a good opening, so it makes sense that my opponent has already something to be better in the endgame, because my opening is not good. But he decided to play knight on d5 instead. Although I didn't really understand the point of knight on d5. Because after the castle, what are you going to do? Take my bishop is terrible. My opponent decided to take, which is move. Stockfish likes it. Although, you took my bad bishop for your good knight. This pawn is down defended. So I would like to know what is the point of this. Because if you play, let's say, bishop on f5, I'm going to play knight on c3 and push. So I also have a good center. Apparently you can play bishop on e6. Although what? This doesn't work again for these. But what happens if I take? Queen take? Queen d3? And then worst? Ow. Ow, am I even worst? This knight c3 obviously. 95, okay, we take it. Queen take. Yeah, so what? And now worst? There is no way. But yeah. Okay, so to be fair, I don't really understand this line. So, yeah, we're not... Okay, yeah, I don't really understand bishop e6. Let's go back. He decided to do that, and he played queen on g3. Although, queen on g3 looks good, but my opponent missed one thing. And yeah, he really missed that. He told me after the game. He missed that I had queen on e1. So apparently Stockfish still doesn't like it. I don't understand how you shouldn't like this. Like, apparently you can take the queen and you're better. Because you have e5. So I'm going to take. Knight take, take, bishop take, knight c3. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm worse. No, I get it. Pair of bishop, isolated pawn is going to take this way probably. Yeah, I get it. But we both weren't really convinced about queen take. Well, because it's not easy to understand everything. It's not easy to understand that e5 is a good move if you don't know the plan. It makes sense. So he decided to go back. Although going back is probably a mistake because you are going to give me a lot of activity. I mean, at this point, I will just take. Like, okay, maybe this was a mistake, although it's not. But I would say this was a mistake, I take, and we keep going. But if you go back, you allow a knight on g5, that's the problem, which is inaccurate. How can knight g5 be inaccurate? Knight g5 attack the pawn 3 times. The only way to defend it is e6. Like, if you play this, your stature is ruined, you're going to lose in the endgame. The only way is e6. And after e6 comes knight c3. How can this be zeros? I thought I was winning. My opponent also thought I was winning. And I'll tell you why. You're basically playing without a piece, which is blocking another piece. This is super weak. My knights are coming. How is it possible that we are equal? I don't get it. So, he played queen on e7, which apparently is inaccurate. Queen d8 was somehow better. And I just played queen on g3. Now all my pieces are coming towards the king side and just blocked. So he played h6. h6 is a losing mistake if you find knight take on f7, which I didn't find. And to be fair, I still have to understand what is the point. Like, I take, rook take, queen take, rook f1, and if you play queen d7, queen take g6, but I'm down a piece, knight e7, queen h5, b6, knight e4. Like, honestly, How the hell am I supposed to see these? And all of that stuff, like 50 moves in the future to understand that I'm winning. Yeah, there is no way. And we both didn't even think about this move, which makes sense. So I decided to go back, which is a blunder because this wins, of course. King h7 kind of makes sense. You're trying to escape this pin, so yeah. I mean, why not? h4 because I'm crazy. I felt like I was better, apparently not. But even though I'm not better, it's not easy to defend this. I mean, h5 is coming. You cannot take, and if you push, there is a huge weakness, and if you let me take, again, there is a huge target. So, yeah, h4, it is a good move. He decided to play f5, because black doesn't really have any problem. Knight on d2. If you're wondering why I didn't play knight on c5, it is bad because there is f4. Yeah, probably I saw these. Yeah, f4, rook take f4, queen take, and now, oh yeah, and now e5. And now e5, you cannot take, you get absolutely destroyed because this comes with the check. There is the queen. Yeah. So, okay, I saw that. And I played knight on d2. Now I played bishop on f6, targeting the pawn, but there is just knight on f3, defending everything. They play b6, which is inaccurate, and apparently I'm winning now. If I find a move, knight on e2. And I thought about knight on e2, but I couldn't really understand the point. Like, okay, so what? You might even push. So I played rook d1, which makes sense. My plan now is pushing d5 or e4, okay? So if I manage to play d5 or e4, let's say without getting destroyed, I should be definitely better. So this is my plan. He played bishop on e6, which doesn't make a lot of sense, because I can go on f1. Well, apparently d5 works. Again, this position was crazy. So d5 works. If you take my rook, I take. So, bishop back. Oh, and there is this. Oh yeah, I'm threatening this. Yeah, of course I missed that. Okay. So apparently d5 works. Rook f on e1 because of course I missed it. Rook d8. And now there might be a chance to push. Again, if I can push, I had zero problems. Although I cannot push now because if I do that, this pawn falls. So I decided to play queen on f2. The point is that I want to push. If you take, I'm defended. So he decided to go back, and I pushed. The problem is that this still does not work. Not because you can take this pawn, but because you can take the f pawn. If you take, and I saw this after I played the move, obviously. So if you take with the knight, there is this. I mean, you lose. The knight is pinned. This is the point. This is what I missed. Although, if you take, there is a difference because I can take with the rook. And if you take, I thought this was losing for black, because after I take this way, bishop take, rook take. First of all, you cannot sacrifice the rook, because I just take and I'm fine. And even if you take with the bishop, I just take, there is no problem. But if you take this way, and I take with the queen, you can take, rook take. Now, apparently black stand better. I thought white was better, or at least equal. But this is not an easy position to evaluate. This king is weak. I have two pieces for the rook. You add up some pawns, okay, but it's super hard to understand this position. So instead of this, let me go back. He decided to push, because he thought my move was correct. So after he pushed, there is a problem for him, because by pushing, you allow e5. And suddenly, he's dead lost. I'm completely winning. Because you don't have space, you can't do anything. Now, I'm plenty of good moves. Plenty of them. I can play knight on e4, first of all. I can probably play d5. I can play h5. I didn't really know what to do. So I decided to play bishop on b1, which is a pretty sophisticated move. Like, it's not even easy to see. But it's not even that great. Because apparently you can run away with the king and try to survive. Although my opponent decided to block this pawn because I'm threatening h5, but this is a terrible mistake. Like, now you see that, positionally speaking, you have all the weak squares. So you have absolutely lost. I played queen on c2, which makes sense. Queen on e8 is probably the only move, and now knight on e4. I'm threatening to get in, to attack the queen. If you move the queen, I take. So bishop on a8, he played this move because he didn't know what to do. I played knight on d6, and now you have to give me the rook. Of course, otherwise you get absolutely destroyed. Rook on f6, and now I can play d5. I can play knight g5, which I swear to God I don't know how I didn't play knight on g5. I didn't play it, but if you really don't want to play knight on g5, there is also the move knight on e5, which is a great move. I'm threatening this, and if you take, well, good luck. So yeah, I could have played that. I played d5, which is a great move. A great move. Although, after you go back, I decided to take, which is stupid. Just play knight on g5, king on g8 and take. And you win. And you win. Knight take. I could even take, there is d7 too. I can do whatever I want. And now we take. And if you play this, I'm just going to take anyway because I'm going to make a queen. So, it was so easy. And despite that, I missed it. Don't know how. Like, it's not really that I missed it. And that's a huge mistake that I still commit in my classical games. When I'm winning, I play too fast. I just spend 2 seconds and I play. Because I'm winning, there is no way I can survive. Well, the problem is that it's not a rapid or blitz where my opponent has 10 seconds to think. He has several minutes to think. So he can actually find a decent way to survive, even from plus 13. They can do that if you play bad. So I decided to take, but now you can take my knight first. If instead of doing that, I just stole for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, I would have found knight on g5. But yeah, I decided to take now with raid. And that queen on e4 was winning. It is winning, of course. And after it takes, you can take with the pawn, but I thought that taking with the bishop was better. Because, I mean, it is pretty annoying. I'm blocking his pawns, so he doesn't have counterplay because I still have the pawn on f3. So I knew I was winning, but now it's not simple. Like, now it's plus 5, it was plus 13. That's how important it is to think in a classical game. You should think even if it is like mate in 2. Think. That's really important. So I decided to push, which makes sense. And now move the king. So this pawn falls, and I was like, okay, I have king on h3, so I can win this pawn after this or this. There isn't the queen g1, you can just push. Yeah, I was so pissed off by the fact that I threw a lot of my advantage that I was playing bad. Like, I just started playing bad chess. This is bad chess. Now it's plus 2. I mean, now it's not easy to win this position, to be fair. Now he has 2 pawns more than me. That's the problem. Like, he's not going to win, of course, but good luck winning this. So I played rook on c7. The pawn is under attack, pawn on a5, and now rook on a7. At least my plan is not bad. I'm creating weaknesses. So now I played rook on a6. What is the point? The point is that after you play bishop on c5, I go back, attacking the knight. You cannot play bishop on e7 because I have this. Okay? And this falls. So if you play this, I take the knight. That's the problem. So you had to play king on e7, but now I'm making progress because now I have bishop on f5. You cannot push whatsoever. This pawn is not going anywhere, I can block it, so you cannot sacrifice. And now you have a problem. After they played bishop on d6, I played rook on c8, and suddenly I'm winning again. And I tell you why. Cannot do anything. You can just shuffle his bishop. Because I can play king on g2, you shuffle your bishop. That's what the computer is suggesting. You keep shuffling, and at a certain point, let's say you play, yeah, bishop d6. Do you like it? Okay. At a certain point, as you can see, I'm going to get in. And that's the problem, because you cannot move. If you move, you lose the knight. If you move the knight, you have the check and I make a queen. If you move the bishop to 5, I'm going to win this pawn. That's the problem. So what is the way to win at this point? With each certain configuration, let's say you play, well, you cannot really move the bishop. That's the point, because if you play bishop on it, for example, we come with the rook. We come with the rook and we start winning stuff. That's the problem. So this should be the right configuration to win. We use the rook and the king on a better place in order to win everything. So in the long run, we should be able to win. So let me go back. But this didn't happen. So this is the position. And he decided to play this. Now I played king on g2. And he played knight on b7. And he told me he decided to play knight on b7 because he saw this and he thought he was losing. So he tried to play this move to make some progress, although missed the fact that after rook on e8 and king on f6, I finally have bishop on e4. And finally, my opponent resigned because, well, there is nothing to do. The best move is apparently knight on d8 and you just win a full knight. So, what can I say about this game? This game, yeah, could easily be against the Elo game. Pretty bad game by me. I mean, I managed to take advantage of my opponent's mistake, that's true. So overall, I didn't play that badly, although I didn't know the openings, and I'm studying openings. I'm finally studying more than usual, so maybe in the next tournament I'm going to be better about that. And I really need to understand, I mean, I know that, but I really need to start thinking more when I had to make the final moves, you know, the correct decision to make. Even if I am completely winning, I should think more, because otherwise there is the risk to the game, as you can see. So I think this is pretty important, and that's a good example. I almost drew the game, which was completely winning. From plus 13 to a draw is not super good, you know. So yeah, I won. I'm doing fine in this tournament, and I see you with the next video with the round 4.